Well, it would be remiss of me not to ask you about this interesting interview you had with Kieran Gilbert last week, the chief anchor here. I want to play the reaction to it from two of your coalition colleagues. Have a listen to this.
Those that want to campaign for yes will be going against both the Liberal and the National Party position. And obviously, as shadow cabinet ministers, that would be untenable.
We're voting no. The party's position is to vote no. I think if that is to be Simon's position, then I really do think this makes his position as opposition leader in the Senate and a front bencher fairly untenable.
What's your reaction to that?
Well, I won't be acting contrary to the decision that was taken.
So are you going to vote yes or no?
As I said, I won't be acting contrary to the position that was taken. As I've said publicly as well, Andrew, there's a way to go in relation to the parliamentary process, and I do, as someone who doesn't want to see the country put through a referendum that is ultimately unsuccessful, hope that the government listens to the offer made by Peter Dutton and rephrases the questions that are put so that we could actually have a serious question in relation to constitutional recognition of Indigenous Australians that could provide a unifying moment for the nation. Or I hope that they equally listen to Julian Leese's thoughtful comments as someone who has long advocated for a voice and taken the principled stance he has, that the government has got the wording wrong in relation to what they're proposing.
All right. So if the proposal...
I want to see change in this and a changed approach before we get to the point of voting, but otherwise I won't act contrary to the position we've taken. I understand the arguments for that. I respect the processes that we've gone through in that regard, and I have plenty of other things in terms of what we were just talking about as Shadow Foreign Minister, focusing my time and energies on that are critical to the future security of our nation, to the future economic prosperity of our nation, including concerning answers today around the way in which the government seems to view the Trans-Pacific Partnership as an avenue for them to perhaps not be clear about the trade principles that Australia should be upholding.
I understand, but
in relation to our position.
Let me get this straight, though, because there was a bit of ambiguity after last week, let's face it. If the proposal and the wording stays the same as it is now, you're saying you're voting no?
Andrew, as I've said, I won't be acting contrary to the party room decision, and that includes the stance taken in relation to that question.
So you'd be voting no if it stays the same?
Indeed, Andrew, the position that party room has taken is one that I respect.
Do you believe that all members of Shadow Cabinet are bound by this, that that's correct, that you'd have to vote no and campaign for no as things stand at the moment? Would you campaign for no?
No, there's nothing in terms of the decision that says, we've got to be out there addressing rallies or the like. There are many different issues facing this country, and frankly, many of them more important than the referendum that will be put later this year. And so as Shadow Foreign Minister, I'm not going to be distracted from the challenges we face in our region, the national security and other challenges we face by these matters. I'm going to keep focusing on those things germane to the job that I'm doing, just as I would expect that many other colleagues will have a desire to focus on other issues that go quite likely to the cost of living pressures that Australians are facing, the inflationary pressures that they are under, the need for us to ensure we have economic policies to get us through a time where the IMF is predicting recession in large parts of the world. There's an awful lot of issues that need to be addressed and focused on, and I trust we will make sure we are delivering that focus, not just one about this referendum this year.
Yeah, just a couple more on this, if I may. Are you happy with the Shadow Cabinet decision then?
Look, I put my positions through that process. I've written about those. People can go and have a look at what I've written in terms of the nuance I think that exists over this debate. Frankly, I am sad that the country is in the position it's in. This is not an issue that I've given speeches on or campaigned on or had strong views on, but I do think it is a bad thing that the government has got us to a position through an expansionist approach to voice, where we could see a referendum fail, or where at the very least it will be a closely divided outcome. It would have been far better for the country had this been built as a unifying moment and one where we could have constitutional recognition of First Australians, Indigenous Australians, in a way that delivers national unity.
Do you think Julian Leeser had to resign over this?
Well, that was Julian's call and his decision. We will see how Julian engages moving forward, but my understanding from his remarks is he wanted to preserve the opportunity to campaign for a yes vote. And if he wanted to campaign for a yes vote, then that clearly would have been contrary to the party room decision.